Welcome back to Roosevelt Live. This segment of the show, we're going to talk about the airport and TSA, about the pat downs and the full body scans. It's been in the news a lot lately. A lot of people have been complaining, and recently the guy complaining about when the security guy got ready to pat him down. I don't know the guy's name, but when he got ready to pat him down, the first thing the guy said, "Well, I'll let you pat me down, but if you touch my junk," and these was his words, and I quote, "If you touch my junk, I'm gonna have you arrested." And wouldn't you know it, with today's technology, I think within less than 48 hours, there were T-shirts saying "Don't touch my junk." That this guy was getting interviews on the national news. I mean, it was running amok, and it's kind of comical, but it's not, because people don't want to get patted down. They say they don't like it. They say it's intrusive. They say it's against their rights, illegal search and seizure. I don't know what they're talking about. If you don't really want to get patted down, or you don't want to go through the body scan because you're thinking, hey, they could see all your private parts, they can see if you had surgery, in certain spots in your body, and I can understand why that could be concerning to someone, and they're saying, well, we can't see their faces, but you saw their face. But when people walk in there, their whole person is being seen. So whether they can see them or not, once they get into the scan, it is an issue. Then the question would be: is men looking at men? Are women looking at women? Are men looking at women? Are women looking at men? I mean, people get a little sensitive about that stuff. I mean, some guys won't have male doctors because they're paranoid. And they're concerned that somehow the male doctor going to do something to them. I don't know why they feel that way, but there's some guys real funny about a male doctor. Maybe there are women funny about women doctors. I'm not sure. But I know I've had both, men and women. I never really think about it, because if I'm sick, help me. I'm not worried about if you're male or female. So it's not really that important. But a lot of people do feel that way, uncomfortable. But the pat downs, I've seen them in the news recently. This lady was patting down a 3-year-old. I know people got upset about that. The little kid was screaming, and the lady was trying to pat the kid down. The kid was screaming and hollering, and the mom was holding the 3-year-old, and it was chaos. But I'm on a serious note. I'm actually wondering, what do they want the government to do? I mean, if you're not gonna, I heard Ann Coulter. She's always got something ridiculous to say anyway. And I hate to quote her, but unfortunately, sometimes you got to do that. I put her in the same category with Rush Limbaugh and Glenn Beck. They all ding dongs. But she said, well, she alluded to the fact that somehow, and I'm paraphrasing, that we shouldn't be worried about us. We should be worried about, I guess, Muslims or whatever she's trying to say. Now, you can't. First of all, I bring back to people's remind, Timothy McVeigh was a Anglo-Saxon. It's a white male, and blew up the Oklahoma state building. So what are we gonna do? So we know now that people right in this country that are not Muslim. And even if you were Muslim, that don't mean you're of another race. You can be a white Muslim. You can be any race you want to be and be a Muslim. People are looking at folks of color and then complaining that they're the only guilty people when it comes to people maybe trying to set up some type of bomb. And it's just ridiculous, because unfortunately, Muslims has gotten a bad rap, because there's a lot of good Muslims out there. I'm sure they are. And unfortunately, once again, it's like that full local thing. Somebody do something, you just stereotype one individual group and you stick with it, and you ride it till the brakes come off. And that's what happened with the Muslims. They just ride them till the brakes come off. It doesn't make any sense, but that's what they keep doing. But I still think that I don't care about the pat downs. And I haven't been through one recently. Well, let me see. I have gone through them, but I haven't had one in the last few months. So I don't know if they're doing something different, because people keep complaining and they saying that somehow it didn't change. So I don't know. But I do know this: if you want to fly, and the TSA already said that they said they're not going to change anything. So if you want to fly, you're either going to get that pat down or you're going to get that full body scan. I don't think you're going to, because this thing I learned too, don't think you're going to get there and then when they pick you, you say, well, I'm just not going to fly. That's just not going to fly, because they're going to arrest you, because they're going to think that you're guilty. They already said, if you try to go there and they decide that at the last minute when you get ready to get picked and say, well, I'm not going to do it, I'm going to leave, that's not going to happen. They're gonna accost you, and they're gonna ask you a lot of questions. They're gonna, who knows what all they'll do before it's over. They may even get some type of fine. I don't know. They're real funny about people trying to dip on them after the fact. So I wouldn't suggest somebody to go there and then try to leave. I think there's nothing wrong with the pat down, unless something changed and they put their hand actually in your clothes, and if that's happening, that would be a problem. But I often wondered on the pat downs. To me, I've looked at people doing repeatedly, and I was thinking, well, they outline, if it's a female, they outline their breast area, and they touch their legs. They just do it to men. But that doesn't tell you somebody carrying some extra in their clothes or not. I mean, how you gonna know? You have to somehow you have to know this. Other than that, you're not gonna they're gonna get away with it. So I don't know. I don't have a problem with the pat down. I don't have a problem with the body scan. I believe that if you want to get on the plane, and if that's a regulation you have to go by, then it's not a. You do have a right not to do it, but you can't just say I'm gonna fly and I'm not gonna do it. The pilot got mad and said that he don't feel like one of the pilots says, I don't feel like I should be subjected to these scans because he says the radiation is going to cause cancer or going to create problems for him. And he said he's the pilot. Well, that's the main reason in my mind why you should be being checked, because you are the pilot. That means if you flip out or you sold out or you decide to go on a suicide mission, you think you finna go through there and not get scanned and then fly all us into a mountain? And then you done lock the cabin tonight, we can get in there and do anything about it. So, I mean, it's not funny. I might smile from time to time, but it's not because I think the subject is funny, because it isn't. It's a serious nature. But it's no different to me when I go to the dentist, and everybody that went to the dentist got their teeth cleaned or pulled or whatever. You know how they do you. They put that lead thing across your chest, and then they run out of the room. And then they tell you, we're finna take these photos of your teeth, but they take off because they know the radiation being exposed to it on a daily basis obviously is not good for them. Well, I don't like the fact they run the room because now I'm being exposed. I think they should stay in there and hold up whatever they need. Don't let me hold it up. You hold it up. I don't want to be getting exposed to radiation either. So we do know there are certain things that we have to do in life that's going to put us in a situation where we're going to get exposed to some radiation. And it happens. Now, whether good or bad, it happens. But the funny thing about flying, you don't have to fly. You can take a car, you can take a bus, take a train. You either have other means of mass transportation or cars. So it's not mass transportation, but you can have other means to get to your destination other than a plane. You can take a cruise ship if you choose to, which I wouldn't recommend Carnival at this point because obviously their ship caught on fire the other week and people didn't have any hot water. And I'm digressing, but anyway, that did happen. So, but on full body scans, I don't have a problem. I don't know if other people have a problem. Obviously, people have been complaining a lot lately. But I'm going to tell you something. We need to protect this country first and foremost. And I think that people are not taking this stuff seriously. I mean, 2011, we talking about, 2001? That was a long time ago. You're talking 9 years. I think people are starting to slip. And I think they've forgotten about what happened and the devastation of what happened. And it could get 100 times worse. And just recently, we heard in the news that they stopped some computer parts from coming through into the United States. I heard that they were set to explode some 6 hours after they were getting on put on those planes. So people are still trying to do things in the United States, and for us to just say, "Hey, 9 years ago we done came to this point now where we don't feel we need protection anymore. We need that protection more than ever." Those people are not going to stop trying to do something to the United States. They're looking for any crack and crevice that they can get through to do the damage they need to do. And with this economy being the way it is, if something was to happen now, we're going to close up shop in the United States and move out of the country and just close it down and come back later on. I don't know, because we would be in worse shape than we ever seen. And you know how bad it was in 2001 when people wouldn't get planes, and then the plane industry, and they started going down. People didn't want to fly. People were scared to go shopping. People to go to stores. Somewhat maybe paranoid and then somewhat justified. Because I didn't worry about it myself. It didn't dawn on me. I didn't change anything that I did from day to day to day. I just kept doing what I was doing. Didn't make any difference to me. Maybe if I was going to some big football game, I may have hesitated and thought about it, because in mass numbers are what people look for. But no one wants to mess with me inside a convenience store, a mom and pop store, or anything like that. So it never crossed my mind to do anything different. But I just think it's a lot of crying about nothing. You don't have to go on the plane. But if you go, the TSA say this is the rules. You're going to abide by our rules or you're not going to fly. And that's just all there is to it. And it's all that crying and going on. I saw so many comments today and all this week on the news of people complaining about being touched the wrong way and their rights are being violated, and they're going to sue, and that's a bunch of crazy stuff. I think there's a lot to do about nothing, because those same people that are complaining, God forbid someone gets on that plane with some type of a weapon, then they're going to wish the day that we were checking everybody, that we were looking for everything, because they're saying, well, you looking at the wrong people, we're not the criminals. It's criminals in the United States. And people training right here. It's probably cells right here in this country. I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, we just recently had about, 20 Russian spies over here. They was over here for years. Those people was over here having a good time. They became Americanized to the point that I think that's what got them in a lot of trouble. They was over here buying up, investing in stuff. They was doing everything. They was loving this country. This is a land of milk and honey over here. If you can't get it in America, you pretty much can't get it anywhere.